Welcome, people. Today, I'd like to discuss something that is quite close to my heart, actually. It was something that I'm a big lover of fantasy and science fiction, and I think with science fiction or science fantasy, that stemmed mainly from watching the original Star Wars. Um, and also as a young lad, watching 2001 Space Odyssey. I was really young at the time, um, but I remember that film blew me away. I've heard people say, how Stanley Kubrick wanted to make it look, as realistic as possible, if that's what they like in space. And, there's not much going on between the crew. Dave Bowman is it, and I forget the other guy's name. But when I actually watched that as a young child, I love seeing the apes or the primates, and the little argument between the tribes and the bit where he picks up the bone, chucks it in the air, and you get the music. And I thought that was, even at a young age, I thought that was wonderful, like the dawn of man learning to use a tool, like. And then obviously the music. I actually really like classical music, and the Blue Danube, was it? Funny enough, it was the same music they used in First Encounters, the like updated version of Elite on the old Acorn Electron or BBC Micro. I had an Acorn Electron. When you're docking and that, I loved that. And then, it cuts to the bit of Mars, and then you're in the spaceship, and things start going wrong. And I remember as a young child anyway watching that, and I'm thinking, like I say, I've heard in recent years, it was a bit boring. There could have been a bit better dialogue than that. But I remember thinking as a young child, wow, this is really realistic. And them guys that were on that mission, you would have the best of the best. They knew what they were doing, acting under pressure or whatever, and how they eventually outsmarted Hal when he went off the rails, you know. Um, yeah, I thought that was a fantastic film. And another film that also really sparked my interest in fantasy was Krull. Like, the first time I watched Krull, I was like, wow, this is for me. That sparked a long life passion for fantasy, and doing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, um, and ultimately that got me in why I already said in a previous video, as an adult, the first books I ever read as an adult was The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Um, Based on that, and I think Krull. I believe when it was made, I heard, I think they made quite a bit of a loss on it, and I think they had a lot of trouble with the filming. Um, some of the acting's pretty terrible. Some of the practical effects aren't very good, and the fight scenes and the choreography uh, are, terrible. Yeah, you know. and then you think like, what if that was made today? And I'm like, oh God, I hope they don't. I really hope they don't. It seems like they pick these films that you know you watch and you think, oh, if that was made today with the special effects and the practical effects they can do today, and you know the amount of time that they put into the choreography and whatnot, like, you know, oh, it'd be really good. And then you see these reboots. I'll just name two straight away. Total Recall, which was totally and utterly rubbish, and RoboCop, which I struggled to even. I got about halfway through that film and thought, oh, fuck that. You know, not only is he totally and utterly nothing like the original, it's totally and utterly crap. Like, you know, Krull, I think, was a really good fantasy film, and like, if anything, like I say, some of the acting's a little bit um, not too good. Some of the choreography and the fight scenes are pretty bad actually, and some of the effects in it aren't too good. Although I think some of the effects in it are actually pretty good, even today. Like, you know, um, but it's just a wonderful story. You know, bit of swashbuckling. Um, the prince makes the journey to marry the princess to combine their kingdoms to try and hold back the slayers and the beasts that are taking over everywhere. And obviously they get attacked, and you know, the princess is stolen, and he's the only survivor. And the guy, the old one, comes down and you know says something about prophecy and blah blah blah. Takes him to find the weapon, the glaive, which is more of a symbol, you know, and I believe it was Liam Neeson's first film, and also the guy who played is it Mark out of EastEnders was in it. A few other actors that I can't recall off the top of my head right now, like, but yeah, it was wonderful. You know, you got the one-eyed Cyclops. Um, you've got that what's his name? Shorter vision, like wider vision, narrow this and blah blah blah. Ergo the Magnificent, that's the one, you know. Uh, yeah, great little thing, you know, little lad touch, and it's just a really happy tale, you know. He's the servant of this Emerald Sea or whatever, and unfortunately gets killed. Teaches his own never known him his life, but you know, at one point when Ergo asks him if he could have anything, what do you wish for? It's just a puppy, and you know, when he's upset because he's lost his master, you know, Ergo turns himself into a puppy for a bit, like, you know, and it's just lovely the little scenes between them, and when he encounters the bandits, you know, and he gets them to join the cause and stuff. Uh, I do. I think it's wonderful. Like, you know, we got this Rings of Power coming out, like, you know, but it's not going to be like, you know, when Krull was made, they weren't thinking about isophobes and bigotry and smashing the patriarchy and woke and modern day sensibilities and that. Somebody just came up with an idea and this fantasy world, and they made the film, and I just thought like I say, it really got me into fantasy, and it's still one of my favourite films today. I have watched that film many times. Same as the original Star Wars trilogy, although Disney ruined it that much. I actually, and even the special editions, I actually, I don't think I could sit through Star Wars film anymore. I really don't. But Krull, you know, obviously we've got on-demand and streaming services and that now, so it's just at the touch of a button. But I remember when it used to be on terrestrial TV. Oh, Krull's on tonight. I'm definitely sitting down watching that. You know, and you can see the originality and the creativity in it. I thought it was brilliant for adults and me as a child. I loved it as a child. I loved it as an adult. And like my daughter-in-law, I had it on one day, and she was sat there, playing with her art set, like, and then she started watching it, and she's like, "What's this?" And I told her, and she ended up sitting down and enjoyed it herself, like, yeah. Uh, I can't say enough good things, and I really hope that no one comes up with the bright idea of making a reboot of it, or like they've done with Willow, turning it into a series. If they were going to do it, they should have done it back then. Now, you don't get actors like that anymore. The actors in that, they all had a bit of charisma. I thought Ergo was brilliant. The Magnificent, you know. Is it Liam Neeson? I can't remember his name in the film, but how he got a wife in every village and blah blah blah. They all had a little bit to the character, and it didn't need explaining. It was just like an adventure story from beginning to end, and good triumphing over evil, and a totally made up world that I don't know the runtime of it, but for the duration of that film, I was invested in that world, in them people, and rooting for them all the way. Anyway, people, yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. If you like what I had to say, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, ding dong, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.